Hey kids, here we are. This is a true story. I'm going to do the book first because I don't think we'll have time for the song, but it's a true story and a prize-winning book. This sticker up here means that it won the prize for the best children's picture book of whatever year they were talking about there. It's called Finding Winnie, the true story of the world's most famous bear, and it is a good story. Boom, 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 boom. Could you tell me a story? Asked Cole. It's awfully late. It was long past dark and time to be asleep. What kind of a story? You know, a true story, one about a bear. We cuddled up close. I'll do my best, I said. A very long time ago, about 100 years before you were born, there was a veterinarian who lived in Winnipeg. His name was Harry Colburn. A vegetarian, said Cole. Bear doesn't like vegetables. A veterinarian means an animal doctor. I know that, Cole said. That's what I'm going to maybe be when I'm big. If a horse had the hiccups or a cow had a cough, Harry knew how to make them feel just right. Harry's hands were never cold, even in Winnipeg, where winters were so frosty that icicles grow on the insides of your nose. That was just the kind of doctor Harry was. But a day came when Harry had to say goodbye to Winnipeg. There was a war far, far away beyond the ends of the country and on the other side of the ocean, and he was going to help. He would be caring for the soldiers' horses. Harry rode east on a train full of other soldiers. He leaned his head against the window, watching the land scroll by, wondering what it would be like to be far from home. The train rolled right through dinner and over the sunset and around 10 o'clock and into a nap and out the next day until it stopped at a place called White River. On the train platform was a man on a bench with a baby. A baby, said Cole, annoyed. A baby bear, a cub. Harry stopped. It's not every day that you see a bear cub at a train station. That bear has lost its mother, he thought, and that man must be the trapper who got her. What do trappers do? Asked Cole. It's what trappers don't do. They don't raise babies. Raise them? You know, I said, love them. Harry thought for a long time. Then he said to himself, there is something special about that bear. He felt inside his pocket and he said, I shouldn't. He paced back and forth and said, I can't. Then his heart made up his mind and he walked up to the trapper and said, I'll give you $20 for the bear. Is $20 a lot? Asked Cole. Back then, I said, even more than a lot. Captain Colburn, said the colonel on the train as the little bear sniffed at his knees, we are on a journey of thousands of miles heading into the thick of battle, and you propose to bring this most dangerous criminal, or most dangerous creature. Bear stood straight up on her hind legs as if to salute the colonel. The colonel stopped speaking at once, and then in a quite different voice he said, Oh, hello. The men of Harry's regiment squeezed by to have a look. I've decided to name her Winnipeg, Harry told them, so we'll never be far from home. Winnie for short. They had a long, very long way to travel, and they had already got there. They had already gone 3 or 4 feet when Winnie grew hungry. What do bears eat? The men wondered. What don't they eat? Said Harry. Vegetables, Cole reminded me. Winnie ate vegetables. Winnie ate vegetables, I said. She ate everything except onions. They brought her carrots and potatoes and apples and tomatoes and eggs and beans and bread and a tin of fish and some slop in a dish, but Winnie was still hungry. How about dessert? Said Harry, holding up a bottle of condensed milk. Taking the treat in her paws, Winnie lay on her back and hummed a happy song as she drank. The men roared. That's a cute bear. Harry and Winnie gathered with soldiers from all over Canada in the green fields of Valcartier. A whole city of tents had sprung up there. One was a hospital for horses where Harry went to work. Winnie was in the army now. Harry taught her to stand up straight and hold her head high and turn this way and that. Just so, soon she was assigned her own post. Even the colonel agreed that Winnie was a remarkable bear. She might have been the best navigator in the whole army. If you had something, if you hid something, could she find it? She could. What if it was farther away and farther still? Remarkable, he cried. In the evening, both of them were too tired to move. When Harry thought about Winnie and the voyage across the ocean, his head said, I shouldn't. His head said, I can't. But his heart made up his mind. Nobody had ever tried to float so many people and animals across the Atlantic Ocean before. 30 ships sailed together, carrying about 36,000 men and about 7,500 horses, and about one bear named Winnie. There she is on the prow of the boat. See that? When they finally arrived in England, the regiment went to training on the Salisbury Plain, where it rained and rained and rained, but Winnie didn't seem to mind. She was the mascot of the 2nd Canadian Infantry Brigade, and she attended to her post with vigor. One day Harry came running while she was doing her exercises in the tent. You'll bring the whole place down, he said with a laugh. She had grown. She was trying to climb the pole and about ready to break the pole there. See that? It was winter when the order came. The time had come to fight. Winnie posed proudly with the men for pictures to send home to their families. Harry thought for a long time. His head argued one way and then the other, but his heart made up his mind. He went to Winnie and said in a serious way, There's somewhere we need to go. Winnie brushed the mud off her nose and nuzzled up close to him. Harry drove all the way to the big city. There's Winnie, hands against the windshield, loving every minute of it. Here we are, said Harry, the London Zoo. Harry took a deep breath. Winnie, this is going to be your home for a while, he said. She tilted her head. We're shipping out to France, he explained. I have to take care of the horses at the front. She rested her big head against him. I know you want to come, but it's not safe. Winnie's head bowed. Harry's hands were warm as sunshine, as usual. There's something you must be always remember, Harry said. It's the most important thing, really. Even if we're apart, I'll always love you. You'll always be my bear. There's a map of the zoo, the London Zoo. Oh, there's all sorts of animals in there. Is that the end? That's the end of Harry and Winnie's story, I said. But I don't want it to be over, said Cole. Sometimes, I said, you have to let one story end so the next one can begin. How do you know when that will happen? You don't, I said, which is why you should always carry on. There's Winnie right there in a little enclosure for herself. Looking at the time to see how much time we have left. We're fine. Once upon a time, there was a little boy with a stuffed bear. He'd had his bear ever since he was a baby, but somehow the boy had never found the right name for him. He'd tried Teddy, and Edward, and even Big Bear. One day the boy went to visit the London Zoo with his father, and there was a bear, a real bear, on the terraces there. Right away the boy thought, there's something special about that bear. Her name was Winnie. There's Winnie over there. They became true friends. The boy was allowed to come right inside her enclosure to play. Once the boy had found Winnie, he knew just what to call his stuffed bear. He named it Winnie the Pooh, and the boy was called Cole, said Cole. His name was Christopher Robin Milne. Christopher Robin would visit Winnie at the zoo, and then he would take his stuffed animal on all sorts of adventures in the woods behind his home. His father, Alan Alexander Milne, wrote books about them. Harry's Winnie became Winnie the Pooh, and there has never been a more beloved bear. When Harry visited Winnie at the zoo, he saw how happy she was. She was being raised. She was truly loved, and that was all he'd ever wanted from the moment they met at the train station in White Bear. So after the war, Harry returned to Winnipeg in his life as an animal doctor. Before long, he was married and had a son named Fred, and Fred had a daughter named Lorene, and Lorene had a daughter named Lindsay. Which is me. And then I had a son. When I saw you, I thought there is something special about this boy. So I named you after your great-great-grandfather, Captain Harry Colburn. I named you Cole. That's me? Said Cole in a whisper. That's you. And that's Winnie? Yes, I said, that's Winnie. And it's all true? Sometimes the best stories are true, I said. Cole's eyes grew big, and he said nothing for a long time. Then he hugged his own bear close and let out a yawn that reached far away, and they both turned over and fell asleep. Now here's a photo album that shows real pictures, real photographs. This is the real Captain Harry Colburn, and this is the little diary that he kept during the war, one of the diaries. He kept several diaries. And on the 24th of August, it says, bought a bear for $20. And then you have more photos here. Here's some soldiers with the real Winnie there. Tiny bear at that point. And then there she's grown a little bit bigger. And then there the soldiers of the unit there. And there's the bear sitting on Harry's lap. And then this picture over here of Winnie and Harry inspired the statue that now stands in Winnipeg and in London. The statue is in Winnipeg was unveiled in 1992 of Harry and the bear. And there's Christopher Robin, the real Christopher Robin, with the real Winnie. Dad is up there watching them play. And then here is the real Lindsay, who wrote the story, wrote this book, and that's the real Cole, her little son that she told the story to. Anyway, we just got done in time because it's about to run out. So, no time for a song today, but I hope you enjoyed Finding Winnie, the true story of the world's most famous